Absolute value inequalities are inequalities that have some kind of absolute value expression in them. In this video, we're going to look at absolute value inequalities opposite negative numbers. So our first step is going to be to isolate that absolute value expression on one side and then see what happens if an absolute value is less than or greater than a negative number. In part two, we'll investigate positives. 2 times the absolute value of w plus 8 minus 3 is greater than or equal to negative 21. Our first goal is always going to be to get the absolute value expression alone on the left side of the inequality. So here we're going to add 3 to each side. That will give us 2 times the absolute value of w plus 8 is greater than or equal to negative 18. Now we're going to divide by 2. Since 2 is positive, we do not have to flip the inequality, and we end up with the absolute value of w plus 8 is greater than or equal to negative 9. Now we want to figure out this inequality. What does it mean in terms of the absolute value? Well, if you look at the absolute value, w plus 8, remember that absolute value is always 0 or positive. So what we have is that this expression, which is going to be 0 or positive, is greater than or equal to a negative number. Well, a positive number is always greater than a negative number. For example, even if w is negative 1,000, when we put negative 1,000 plus 8 in the absolute value, it becomes negative 992, but the absolute value of that is positive. So we're always going to have this inequality true for any value of w. We say that w can be any real number. The solution is the set of all real numbers or the interval from minus infinity to infinity. Every possible value of w makes this inequality true. 3 times the absolute value of 2x minus 1 plus 11 is less than or equal to 5. Our first goal is always to get that absolute value expression alone on one side of the inequality, because that way we can analyze it and see what's going on. So I'm going to begin by subtracting 11 from both sides. That's going to give me 3 times the absolute value of 2x minus 1 is less than or equal to negative 6. Now I divide both sides by 3. 3 is positive, so I don't need to flip the inequality. The absolute value of 2x minus 1 is less than or equal to negative 2. I've accomplished my first goal. Well, now we're going to analyze that inequality in terms of the meaning of absolute value. So since the absolute value of an expression is always either 0 or positive, and its opposite, a negative number, the inequality says that 0 or a positive number is less than or equal to a negative number. Well, that's just silly. It's impossible. A positive number is never less than a negative number. 0 is never less than a negative number. No matter what number we put for x, we're going to end up with a positive less than a negative, which is not true. So the solution for this is that there are no solutions, the empty set. So we've come up with some rules for absolute value inequalities where the absolute value is alone on one side. If it's less than a negative number or less than or equal to, that's impossible and there's no solution. The solution is the empty set. If the absolute value expression is greater than or equal to a negative, it's always true. And so the solution is all real numbers. Stay tuned for the next video where we figure out what to do with an absolute value expression opposite a positive number.